Kelly Raspberry! Sorry, I screamed. I got you a birthday present.
What'd you get me for my birthday?
I got you a human.
You got me a human for my birthday?
Well, he's just walking in right now.
Mark Wahlberg is my birthday present?
I got you Mark Wahlberg for your birthday. It's her birthday, Mark. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, too.
A lot of energy.
I'm excited, bro.
We are
I'm very excited to
Good.
meet you.
I'll wake up. I was up early. I was up at 4 in the morning. I did my thing. And
4 a.m. club.
Here.
Well,
I'm now idling at a very low heart rate.
Well, here's the thing. Your schedule went super crazy viral. Do you find it interesting that people care that you were waking up at 2:30 in the morning and doing your stretching and praying and then going to the gym and all that? Do you find that interesting that people care that much?
Yeah, it was weird. But, it was one of those things, too, where there was a lot of misinterpretation.
Uh-huh.
I think at one point it had me taking like an hour and 40-minute shower during that schedule. So I just do what I got to do. It's just part of my gig. Everybody, has their own schedule and their own time frame that they work from. So I get up early. I get a lot of stuff done before the kids wake up, and then I do the rest of my day.
I get up at 2:30 every morning, and nobody ever says a damn thing about it.
But look at you.
I get up at 2:30 every day morning.
What are you doing?
I do my Peloton, and nobody's ever said in 10 years, nobody's ever said a thing about it.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you, Big Al.
Thank you, Anna. I
Yeah, you're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Maybe be Mark Wahlberg and they'll care. That helps.
Mark, this is very monumental for us because, you're the first celebrity we've had come in studio since everything shut down. So you're like breaking that barrier for us.
It's very nice to start actually seeing people in person. I've had enough Zoom calls to last me a lifetime.
Yeah,
Right.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
huh?
But it's worth it for you to get out because I know you're so proud of this movie.
Absolutely.
Father Stu,
Yeah.
that we all got to watch.
Oh, man,
And
awesome.
just
Thank you.
beautiful.
You made me
job.
cry, Mark.
Thank you.
The movie
It
made me
felt
cry.
to me because
Well,
I know.
it's not me, it's Stu, for sure.
Yeah, well, your Catholic faith is so important to you, and also Mel Gibson, who's in the movie, and y'all have both now done movies that almost are like a love letter to your faith, don't you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly what he did with the Passion of the Christ inspired me. In my business, obviously, I don't jam my faith down anybody's throat, but I also don't deny it. That would be a very bad thing to deny my Catholic faith. But it was a wonderful story, and I've been very blessed and very fortunate. I do attribute pretty much all of my personal and professional success to my faith. So that being said, I knew I had a certain amount of time to really focus on me, and then I wanted to do other things that were a representation of my faith. And when this came along, it was a big challenge to get made. It was the first time that I've ever financed a movie.
Wow.
But it's the most important project that I've been involved. It's the most fulfilling role that I've ever played. Certainly the most challenging as an actor. You don't get this kind of role.
Right.
But as a producer and the financier of the movie, it was a big responsibility to get the movie done and to pay tribute to Stu and to make sure that I made Bill proud. Bill, being Stu's dad, and his entire family, the people who ordained him, the people who went to the seminary with him, and most importantly, the people that he touched. He touched so many people in a short amount of time that I had a huge responsibility to get it right. They've now seen the film, and they are absolutely blown away by it. So
Do you think Father Stu was the first person who went to L.A. with aspirations to become an actor and became a priest? That doesn't happen often, dude.
That I was gonna say, I didn't know where you were going with that. You know how many people have gone? There's probably people in this room who have gone to L.A. And it's a tough business. I think. Look, a lot of it is fate, right?
Yeah.
I think he was destined to be a priest. I think me meeting Penny Marshall when I met her, having come from music and really not being interested in acting, and then finding somebody who could actually teach me, guide me, and be a mentor to me was the reason why I was successful. He was kind of out there on his own, didn't know anybody, and had a bad experience. So, it's one of those things where fate really intervenes a lot of time, and I certainly prayed for intercession from Stu to get this movie right, and it was a long uphill battle. So
His optimism in every situation he faced was so, just in...
yeah,
because it wasn't a
people could think
cockiness.
that it was a bit naive or
Yeah.
naivete, but
it was
no,
beautiful.
But when he found his purpose, he was so committed and so dedicated. That's the amazing part of it.
But he still cussed a lot. So, at least
Kept it real.
kind of kept it real.
That was the other thing that I really loved about the story. And I did get a lot of pushback from the church about that.
Oh, really?
They read the first page. They're like, oh, there's an F-bomb. And then the second page, there's another F-bomb. They're like, this is vulgar. I said, you got to read till the end.
Yeah.
And most importantly, people really talk like that. And we are trying to make something that's realistic, that's edgy, but has humor and heart, and ultimately speaks to everybody. We're not making a faith-based movie that is only preaching to the choir.
Right.
You know, we're not trying to convert the converted. We are trying to touch everybody. And this
Amen.
is a movie literally for everybody.
I think that's the
You know,
danger when you
no
say
matter
it.
what-
If it's a faith-based movie, some people say that's not for
Correct,
me.
right.
I don't go to church, but it's not about that. It's such a beautiful story.
It's also not about the church.
Right.
It's about the guy who died to build it. And that's
Right.
when
Yeah.
Stu was dedicated to the Lord. He wasn't dedicated to the church and all the rules and all the restrictions that they put on people. And obviously lots of things need to change, right?
Right.
We're in 2022 here. We have to be open and inclusive to everybody. This is not about giving up on people and turning our backs on people. This is about people turning around and, supporting people and loving them. And nobody is beyond redemption. So
Right.
that being said, if people are willing to really change and want to work hard, then we need to support them and love them, and no matter what their choices are.
It slaps cancel culture in the face. We shouldn't just, judge people for their crimes, and we should forgive them and watch them grow.
Well, the thing is, it's a tricky situation when you start being so judgmental, because we all have issues, right?
Right.
We all
Yeah,
have skeletons in our closet, and when you are affecting somebody's livelihood and everything else, and then all of a sudden, you've got things that, weren't exposed, but, they're there, and you have affected other people's lives in a very negative way. When you come to judgment, that's going to be a bad look,
Yeah,
and the only
yeah, for
real
sure.
judge that I'm worried about, other than the ones that I saw when I was a kid, and I really worked hard to turn my life around, is the one guy that I'm trying to really, honor in this movie, other than Stu, is the Lord. So
Yeah.
that being said, I really want to and make sure, if you look at the history of the church, again, this is a quote from the movie, some of the most remarkable figures in the history of the church are Reformed men.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
St. Augustine, they're talking about him yesterday when we were at Loyola.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the only saint who still has a criminal record. They have his arrest record on file.
But then they try to water that down by responding by, well, we're trying to find better people now, and Stu fought against
Well,
that.
here's the thing. Stu was so relatable because he had real life experience.
Yeah.
When he was doing his prison ministry, he was talking to this should have been his life. So they knew that he spoke the truth, and that's why there were so many people waiting to speak to him. And he was brutally honest with everybody, but he had real life experience. That's invaluable.
Yeah.
So people know that. It's like when I talk to kids from the inner city and at-risk youth, I'm like, guys know that I came from that same environment, and through focusing on really doing the right thing, refocusing my faith, and hard work allowed me to become successful. So if I can do it, I know most of these kids are smarter than me and more talented than me, and want to encourage them that despite the obstacles that they face, that they can accomplish whatever they want if they're willing to go and do the work.
Would you say this
Period.
Would you say this is one of the roles that you've connected with the most, playing Father Stu? Because
Absolutely.
you guys had similar upbringings and backgrounds.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't say, people are like, there's a guy who, obviously, when you speak to certain journalists, right, he has an idea of what he wants his story to be, right?
Yeah.
So he keeps asking me a question, but trying to give me the answer to the question. And he's like, so when you see this movie, do you see yourself in this movie? I'm like, no, I don't see myself in this movie. And I don't want people to see me in the movie. I want people to see Stu and know Stu's story, and continue to, echo his message and share it with the world. And he's like, but you kind of see yourself, don't you? I said, no. What I will say, I know what you're trying to get me to do. I said, but what I will say is, you'd be hard pressed to find another actor of my generation, of any generation before me. I don't know about after me, but certainly anybody who's come before me or now that would be better suited to play this role in a more authentic way. So if you want to write that,
Go ahead.
But no,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not trying to
committed.
get people to see me. I'm trying to tell Stu's story. It's just like the same thing with the physical transformation. It wasn't like, I've done it before, and a lot of people do it, and it's amazing, and I don't want to knock anybody for it, but people put a lot of emphasis on that, right? And for me, this was just such an important part of what Stu went through. And for a guy who relied so much on his physicality, everything was predicated on his physicality, right?
Yeah.
He was a fighter.
He was an athlete.
Yeah, he was an athlete. He was a boxer. He was a football player. And then all of a sudden, his physicality starts to deteriorate, but his spirituality starts to soar. So needed to see that transformation. And I also watched my dad deteriorate from a physically strong person after he had a stroke and had cancer and all these things, and watched my mom, really deteriorate in a very rapid way. And so, I wanted to also share that with people and make sure that it was an honest depiction. But, the way he handled his suffering was with grace and with dignity.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we're lucky enough to get old, we're all going to face it. We're all gonna
Amen,
do it.
brother.
Yeah.
That's why it's so relatable to everybody.
And he had his human moments, right? Where he
vulnerable.
he's
Yeah.
vulnerable. He questioned
Yeah.
everything. He
Yeah.
even questioned God at some point.
But it is true. I mean, everybody's trucking along in life and everything is going good. You kind of forget to get on your knees until you get sick.
Until
one-
you're
And
on your
then
knees.
Everybody's
second.
connection with God.
Well, that's why I
suddenly.
also encourage people just to take care of themselves too, because prevention is better than cure, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
it's one of those things where you just got to try to take care of yourself. And I was lucky that I found spirituality early on. I really didn't have anything else to turn to. But once I started focusing on my faith, good things started happening. But it's also important for me, especially at this time, to use my platform to put the message out there, you know,
Yeah,
especially
sure.
with young people and just all the divide that's in the world today. You know, we got to remind people
Absolutely.
that we got the only way that we're going to come together is if we start loving each other and supporting.
Did you give anything up for Lent?
You know, there's also now there's been good change in that, and like, you know, it's like, okay, not eating meat on Fridays and that sort of thing, or giving up chocolate. You know, how about just challenging yourself to do better and to do more and give a little bit more and help somebody else that's more in need. So instead of trying to give up something,
Physical.
then actually to do something that's going to move the needle a little bit.
I gave up chips, but I just got done with a bag.
I was going to ask you, as a dude that goes to the gym all the time, do people come up to you at the gym? Because there's like a list of people that I have that I want to work out with. But when you see someone at the gym, do people come up to you and like try to work out with you ever, or they leave you alone for the most
You know,
part?
it depends. Like, no, so like F45 is group training. Yeah. So there, absolutely. And I encourage it because we're all in there working together. It's a huge support system. So whether you've just started, it's your first day in the gym, or you're an elite athlete, people can work out together and they're supportive of each other and they're all kind of interacting, and it's just a love fest.
Okay.
It's so that part is great. But then you'll go and then there'll be a trainer. So I tell the trainer right away, don't come around me. Because, you know, they'll put more weight on your back. They'll put a 45-pound
Yeah, don't
plate
make
on
me
your
look
back.
bad.
Yeah.
We're going to do a pull-up contest, all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I got to do my thing. I got 45 minutes. I'm trying to interact with everybody else. I'm trying to talk to the members.
Right.
I'm trying to support everybody and love everybody up. And this dude is just like, oh, nah, man, we're going to challenge you. Come on, man. More weight.
Put it on him. Put it on.
They're always Australian, huh?
Well, the company it was founded in Australia, so there are quite a few Aussies. But
Have you ever had to do an accent in a movie?
yeah.
With like an Australian accent or a British one?
No, but I have one coming up where I'm going to get to do a British accent. I've done it, but I've always done it where the audience was in on. So like in Rockstar, when I tried to pretend like I was British like the rest of the guys. And I've spoken quite a few languages, but briefly. But I'm doing a movie that's probably going to be like 50% in a foreign language.
Oh.
And then, and yeah, but
No.
most American actors don't really get to play
I know.
Right.
British, you know.
But British
just
play
fun.
American all the time.
Why are they taking our jobs,
Yeah.
Mark?
Well, they're good at what they do.
We need to do something about that.
And also, you know, they really grow up spending a lot more time watching our content than we end up
True.
watching them.
I see.
By the way, you're Spanish in the movie.
It was on point.
Buenísimo, estuvo buenísimo.
Oh, gracias.
How many takes did that
Did I
take?
say thank you?
No, that was perfect.
You did. Good
That's all
job.
he's got.
Oh, bueno.
All he's got.
No. I really spent a long time working on that. I spend a lot of time working on everything. You know, it's like I don't have a photographic memory, but I drill things into my head so much that I can literally see the words on the page right now for most of the script, and for a lot of movies that I do, but especially Stu because it was so dialogue intensive. But yeah, I just I do a lot of preparation.
Oh, I
don't
bet.
like to be showing up on the day and people are like, oh, that's not what you're supposed to say. And that's not a good look.
I do have one question about Father Stu. At the end of the movie, in the credits, produced by Mark Wahlberg, and then there was letters after that. What's that?
PGA?
Yeah,
That's
what
the
are those?
Producers Guild of America.
Oh, you're in the guild?
I think
Dang,
so.
Mark.
Not the Professional Golf Association.
Anybody play golf?
I don't know. I've always wondered when I see these letters, I'm like, what the hell is that? Just spell it out for me, man.
I aspire to play on the PGA.
PGA, 3 handicap.
I was like, what are these? I don't know. Listen, there are no stupid questions, just answers to these
sometimes.
questions.
Sometimes there
Can I tell
are.
you something?
Go ahead.
There really are no dumb questions.
Right.
If you act like you know what somebody's saying, and then you completely look like an idiot, then you
Exactly.
look dumb. right? But I've always never been afraid to ask a question. I mean, I work with some pretty intellectual people, right? With filmmakers, writers, you know, and they start throwing all the big words at me. I'm like, either 1 second here, I'll either pull out my dictionary, or you can use the word. I know there has to be another word
Or just
that will
dumb it
mean
down a
the
little
same
bit.
thing. But don't be afraid to ask questions, because you know you have the luxury. I have the luxury of looking something up, right? I'll
Yeah.
do the homework.
Yeah,
I
to
want to
learn.
make sure that I know and understand what somebody's
Right.
saying, you know. But I also feel like I have invaluable life experience and street life and street smarts that, you know, I can apply to my work that make what I do, you know, more authentic.
Yeah, and it's more important to have those types of smarts. Listen,
Well,
man,
a little bit of both is good.
Yeah.
Don't tell my kids that, because they'd be like, Dad, you know, I didn't.
I don't have to go to school
Yeah.
today. I got street smart.
I heard you, Dad. You said street smarts.
I
What's
got
up?
street cred. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, Beverly Hills street smarts.
Listen, I'm sure we could spend another 3 hours talking to Mark Wahlberg, but I know you're super busy promoting Father Stu. In
Great
fact,
movie.
It's out in theaters. Go check it out. It really, really, really is great.
Beautiful.
You did such a great
Beautifully
job.
done.
The cast was awesome.
I loved your mom in that movie. I just want to
I
see
did
everything
too.
she's in from now on.
You know, Jackie, she was amazing. She was such a you know, she just comforted me. I lost my mom during the movie.
I'm sorry,
And
Mark.
she was always so sweet, so kind, and loving like my mom.
You could feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You felt
She
that
was
connection.
I loved
so
her.
all the scenes that we had together, or the moments like when I find out that I'm being ordained and I go into the church, obviously I was getting emotional anyway, because I knew what it meant to Stu to be ordained, and everything about his life and his legacy is about him becoming a priest and all that he did when he was a priest. But I would always just kind of look to her, you know, trying to keep it together in that moment.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
Because I knew how proud Stu's parents were, and I knew that it's not in the film, but Stu's crowning achievement was to get both of his parents baptized before he passed, and the Archbishop who ordained Stu had baptized them while Stu was in a gurney in the hospital.
Wow.
And he had tears streaming down his face.
Oh, that is beautiful.
So to
No,
bring
you don't
his
get that in the movie.
to really bring his family full circle. But you do get to see his dad and him, you know, reconnect.
I was hoping.
It was beautiful
I was hoping for
casting.
that.
It was really well
It was well
cast.
done.
Well, again, and it's because of Stu's story that people wanted to be a part of the movie. Also a credit, obviously, Rosalind Ross and her writing for giving everybody really great roles. But it's very unique when you have a movie that people want to be a part of because of the story and not their own individual agenda as an actor.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
normally people are like, oh, I can really go
see
off
that.
on this one, or this is a great part for me, as an opportunity for me to shine in this moment. It was really about everybody servicing the vision that I wanted to
Well, they
create
served it
for
very
television.
well.
Very well.
Really
man.
well.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to talk about it and encourage people to go and see it, and you know, just have conversations that are meaningful.
Yes.
So thank you guys.
Appreciate
Thank
you, man.
you.
Thank you for your time, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you are welcome back
Y'all bring the
anytime.
Wahlburgers in. Yeah.
In fact, Anna,
Next time.
lock that door. No, I'm just kidding. Let 'em out.